Oh, when I got here at the mission, it was really, I would have to say, the lowest point of my life. I had let an alcohol addiction just really take me to a place where I was really alone. You know, I had betrayed the trust of everyone close to me, and really had done the kind of things that people couldn't have me around anymore. And my sister basically found this place in the phone book and said, you need to go here. You can't stay here anymore. And it was a low point, you know, to walk up to see this building and think I'm going to, you know, a men's shelter, not know anything about, you know, really what it was going to be like. I was scared, and I guess you could say I was pretty much broken in just about every way a man can be broken.
When I first arrived here at the mission, yeah, I was battling drugs, alcohol, gambling, and it's just like I had really just thrown in the towel. You know, even though I was working 2 jobs, you know, things just wouldn't add up.
When I came to the mission, I was at a point in my life that I'd never been in before. I was farther away from God than I was the day I got saved. I mean, I had drifted so far away from Him, and I drifted from Him. He didn't drift away from me. And my physical health was gone. I had drank myself into alcohol poisoning. I was jaundiced. I hadn't eaten. Living under a bridge is not good for an old man to do. And the gravity will take care of getting you down there. It's getting up that hurts.
When I first came in, I was literally lost. I was in a hotel in downtown Wichita that I had enough money to rent for a couple of nights. And my plan was to look for another program to get in. But Wichita didn't have a whole lot to offer there. And I was on the phone with my parents back in Arizona, and my mom called me crying because she said that she found this place called the Union Rescue Mission, and that knew some people over there from back when she was in high school. And I thank God that He gave me just those few moments of clarity and sobriety to pull the trigger and to make a call to come in, because I didn't know what kind of shape I was in. I was much worse off than I even thought I was.
I'm an alcoholic. What had happened is I went on I had moved here and I went on a binge, another binge, and just didn't go back to work. I only worked for about 4 or 5 weeks. Went on a binge, lost my job, and then wound up, I had gotten too drunk. I actually had drank some rubbing alcohol because I was out of regular alcohol. And a friend of mine, just by the grace of God, had come by and seen what kind of condition I was and took me to the hospital.
The mission staff that took me in that night, the intake officers and the gentlemen that were working the front desk, they saw my need. And they saw my condition, and they ministered to me that night. I mean, in such a way that I didn't feel lost. I didn't feel like I was in an environment that was terrifying or scary. I was in such rough shape physically that when they gave me a bed to lay in, all I could do was lay down and hold on. But they saw to the needs that I had that night, and it continued on. This is a ministry, and every person that works here is a minister of God.
There was a specific time that I remember that Christ was leading me through this program was when I was laying in bed one evening and was not sure that this was where I should be, and kind of questioning what I should do and if this is where I should be. I just started praying and just asking God for guidance, and it was a deep prayer, and I'll never forget this is how I remember it, is that how the scripture describes a peace that surpasses all understanding, that came over me that night, and then I knew that this is where I needed to be.
When I got here that morning, they said that they didn't have any more openings. But I didn't care. I said, I've been out here in this world for over 50 years. Didn't have really a relationship with God. And I want to build on that. And so they said, well, you got to wait 90 days. And I said, I don't care. And so I tell you, God works so fast. Within an hour, they said, we got a bed for you. And, from that point on, it was like one blessing after another. God was blessing me and giving me comfort that I made the best choice of my life, is trying to work on a relationship with Him.
I experienced Christ here for the first time. I wasn't raised religiously. We didn't go to church. There was, through my life, I had pondered God, and looking back, I understand that God was always there for me and lifting me up, but I didn't realize it at the time, or wasn't concerned with it, or I was trapped in my addiction, so I was in a trap.
Did not have a relationship with Christ. I had been to church just literally a handful of times in my life. Wasn't raised with Christ in my life. I was not a Christian when I came here. I had never even been around, Christian people for any length of time. I didn't really know that this was a Christian place when I came here. I just knew it was going to be a men's shelter. They put a pamphlet in my hand when I came in the front door, and I started reading it. And my eyes got open to a few things that go on here, and really, there was some hope right in that moment. When they handed me this pamphlet, and I read about the New Beginnings program, and I looked at it, and I just thought, wow, I need a new beginning. Maybe I could get in that program, and really started seeking people out right from the first moment I got in the door. And some of the staff's like, you need to just get into line. I was coming for an overnight.
They call the program a New Beginnings program, and that's exactly what it is. When I came in here, my spirituality was 0.1 maybe. And as I progressed through the New Beginnings program, the first month was daunting. It was like drinking out of a fire hose. But once I got my head in the game and got used to the surroundings, got used to the rules and regulations that are very necessary, once I got lined out with all of that and started to get my heart into the game, then it clicked. If you don't have your head in the game and your heart in the game, it's going to be real tough on you. But God sees a way around all these things. He sets the right people in your path. There's counselors and mentors here that have done this before. This is not their first rodeo. And they know how to encourage you and to support you and to stand with you. And I would say after 6 months in the program, when we went into our junior module or our module 3, at that point, I'd seen men in my own class get saved. I'd seen many people get saved in this program that came in that were completely unchurched and didn't know one book from the Bible from the other. And through the classes and the teaching and the prayers of others and the encouragement of the teachers and the mentors here, they met Christ for the first time.
Got this advice when I was first into the program, and so I do turn around and I like to share it when I'm asked, but you're never going to find a safer, more helpful environment in here to really dig deep and to find out what it is that you're struggling with. Qualified people here to help you, like I said, my biggest fear going into the program was that I would waste a second of the 12 months of this program. I didn't want to take anything and withhold anything from case manager, from work, and I truly believe that that God's design of getting me here, He also brought each and every one of these men here at the same time to go through this program with me. and that's a huge resource too. And you know, I'm thankful for that, and be glad to share that with any new recruit into the program.
The first day that I actually got into the New Beginnings program, and when they told me that I had been accepted, and that, you know, this was going to be my way out of addiction, I remember laying right down this hallway here, and laying in my bunk at night, and all of a sudden it was just like a wash of emotions come over me, and I really believed that, you know, that something special had happened. You know, I wasn't even a Christian, that I had not accepted Christ, but it was just this unexplainable feeling, like, you know, so many things that happened, you know, in my life, you know, and in such a short period of time, I really believed that, you know, God was working, you know, in my life. Wasn't a Christian yet, but I knew I was in a Christian place, and all of a sudden, it's just these unmistakable feelings, like, you know, something really special has happened here, you know? And that feeling had really carried me through my program. You know, I could look back into that moment, and it gave me just the confidence to carry on, even when there were hard times, you know, to stay the course. It was really powerful for me that first day.
Definitely wasn't smooth sailing after I left. I mean, there were some struggles. I did have some, you know, some hard times dealing with some things. I did relapse once, but I kept in contact with Tom and Terry and people at the mission, and they helped me through things. And then, you know, I had to definitely stay in church and definitely read my Bible every day and staying, you know, connected to Christ. But, you know, I got through those things. I had to pick myself back up. But the thing is, the mission gave me those tools to just look inside myself and just say never give up. And before, in my life before, I just gave up and didn't know how to start back up again, you know. And that was what's just wonderful about it, is I was able to pick myself back up and move on and keep going and not go back down into that deep pit again.
I have hope. That was one thing that I didn't have. I just, and you hear other people say it, but I always felt like I was existing. There was nothing, there was nothing for me. I wasn't striving towards anything. I didn't, things seemed very dark and gloomy to me. And I have hope now that I can do something with my life, and my life isn't over, you know, and there are times occasionally that are difficult, but again, if I take a moment and I pray and I just remember everything that God's done for me, I'm comforted, and those moments pass. I think I've realized now that actually that, you know, if I do take that first drink or that first drug, you know, I know what's going to happen. It's not, and I used to think that God would punish me, or bad things would happen to me but I understand now that if I make that decision, because I can make those decisions, and I turn from God, it's not God doesn't go away, He's still there, but I've decided to turn away from Him and you know, pursue something that is going to lead me down a bad path. But it's those moments are becoming shorter and shorter where I, you know, feel maybe an urge or something like that.
The future for me is bright. You know, I need to remind myself that this is not a race that I just completed, but it really just starts right now. And it's exciting to some degree to be able to practice what we've just spent the last 12 months learning, and get to kind of use it. I'm excited. I knew that the Lord brought me here to teach me some things and really kind of send me on a new direction with my vocation and with everything in my life. And recently got my license to go start being a substitute teacher, and would love to continue working with some nonprofits and stuff like that. So there's been some wholesale changes, but it's all very exciting.
You know, since I graduated from the mission, and now before I even graduated, you know, I already knew that God had something special for me. And I wanted to become a minister. I wanted to, I wanted to extend to people help that I got through here. It's just like God blesses us so that we can bless others. And all of the people that I met through this program, from all of the different benefits and the different functions that the mission's a part of, I just see love just thrown out while I was in the program of people that really wanted to help, genuinely love. And that's what I got from this program, is that God blessed me to come back to Him so that I can bless others with my testimony and my story, or just to show love. So, and since then, I'm an ordained licensed minister. I went through and completed Bible college through Kansas Southwest Bible College.
It's awesome. I did get my job back. Joe was my counselor here, and Joe has been a huge help. I still meet with Joe on Thursdays for lunch, and now I work, and I have friends, and I stay busy. I don't isolate. I go to church. I try to stay involved. I realize how important it is to be involved and not to isolate. Once I begin to isolate, it's a bad deal. But I enjoy. I'm finding myself, when I used to think about being a Christian, I thought it would seem maybe, boring or uneventful or a drag, you know what I mean? And it's not. It's a total opposite. I'm very interested in people's all different points of view about Christianity. I'm sort of finding my way, but it's anytime anybody's talking about God, and no matter in what forum, I'm interested. I want to hear, and I feel like a sponge right now.
My life is just fantastic right now. I mean, I am so blessed every day. The Lord put just a wonderful woman into my life, just a beautiful Christian woman, and she and I, we got married last March. I've been given a second shot at a family. We started a business this year. It's doing well, and I really do have just joy and happiness in my life every day. I count anytime I have any kind of hard days or difficult times, I literally can step back, count my blessings, and feel just on top of the world, It is better than I thought it was going to be.
I was a new person on July the 13th, Friday the 13th. That's my lucky day, I guess. I was a new person. I was completely different that day than I was when I walked in. I'm not the man I'm supposed to be. I'm not the man that I was created to be, but I'm not the man I was. I'm in the process of changing, and God is in there right with me. Graduating from this program opened up a lot of opportunities for me to go back into my former careers. I wasn't going to ever be able to go back into those, operating under the guidelines and under my own will that I had been before. But coming in here and developing that absolutely shadow relationship with Christ, to where He's as close as my next breath, and to where I can lay any burden on Him and lay any concern on Him and depend upon Him and the Holy Spirit to guide me in the right direction. That gave me the opportunity to move on in life and be productive, and not to be looked down upon because of my addictions or my other character flaws. I've learned a lot about Mark, and I've learned that he's not a bad guy. He just needed a little tune-up. And God takes you to the woodshed. He doesn't spare the rod. Sometimes He gives you exactly what you need, and you may not like it, but this is what I needed. This mission saved my life.